So when we think about the three types, skeletal, cardiac, smooth. Yes, anything attached to bone. Skeletal muscles structure, okay, is going to be a long cell, and it's going to have striations in it, which we'll talk about at a later time, and it is the cell of the body that is multi-nucleated. Now, when I say that, the muscle cell can be long. I'm telling you, it can be long. If you look at your sartorius muscle that does this number right here, which is the longest muscle of the body, if you were to look at that muscle, hold it up like this, for my case, about that long, and if I could pick up one of the, what we think of as the fiber, okay? If I could pick up one of the fibers and peel it, I would have one cell. That changes our view, hopefully, a lot about what a cell is. And along that cell are going to be multiple nuclei. Does that make sense? So skeletal muscle is going to be pretty cool. This one, for the most part, voluntary. We're controlling it. Yes. Think of a reflex, okay? Because that would be something we're not controlling. Helps to move the body. In the heart, cardiac muscle, it's going to be similar because it's going to have striations also, but we go back to being cell to cell to cell to cell, okay? So the heart is going to look striated, because it is, and it's one cell though, one cell to one cell to one cell. We're not controlling the movement of it. If I had to tell my heart to beat, I'd be in trouble. The job, once again, we're talking about moving something. Skeletal muscle, movement of this body as a whole that we think about it being. Cardiac muscle, when that heart pumps, okay, looks like it's functioning at one time, but it's each individual cell working separately, but we won't get into that. And it is a force that's moving the blood. Okay, so once again, still moving something. Smooth muscle, hollow organs of the body, involuntary. Once again, we're not going to control it. This time, smooth muscle, we're going to find is anything that's directing activities inside the body. I like the one about the pupils dilating. Do you control that? No. You're going to find little teeny tiny smooth muscles present that do that for you in the eyes. It is so cool. But anyway, three types: skeletal, cardiac, and smooth. And they're going to look different. Skeletal and cardiac will look a little bit alike, but if you notice, there's going to be a couple of differences. For skeletal muscle, very long cells, tubular in structure. Note, they're trying to show that right here. Looks like tube, tube, tube. Very long in their structure. And this is what they do. They're just all bundled together. And then multiple nuclei are present. When you look at it under the scope, where you've got the dark band, light, dark, light, dark, light, these are the striations. And there's a reason for that, okay, which we'll learn when we get to that chapter. The cardiac muscle, once again, looks like the tubular structure, but note there's branching present. It looks like tube after tube after tube, but this time there's branching present, and we do have the striations because, once again, we're going to find out the importance of that, but it's one cell to one cell, and each cell has its own nucleus, and the cells are separated by these darker bands, these lines, okay, which they're showing, which you can see, like here and here, here and here. Is everybody kind of seeing the lines? Okay, that's one cell. That's the boundary. Okay, but they're called intercalated discs. So when you have this to this, and the cell existing in between, these markings that are present, these are called intercalated discs. And that's very important. Smooth muscle, once again, we're back to a tubular structure, but it looks like a spindle because it's thicker in the middle, thin at the ends. So it looks spindle structured. Once again, cell after cell after cell. Each one is a separate cell, and each cell has its own nucleus. And smooth muscle is it's kind of interesting. It's not one of my favorites. Okay, I much prefer skeletal and cardiac. But hey, serves a good purpose in the body. I mean, hello, you know, pushing the food through. The next type of tissue, nervous tissue. This is going to be our neurons. So this is the name for the cells, okay? When we say a neuron, we're meaning a nerve cell. Their job, produce an action potential, which we're going to learn about, okay? The structure of the nerve cell, we usually show this. That's usually the picture that you see, all right? Basically, the cell body, the dendrites, the axon. I do wish they would include the terminal ends, because the terminal ends are very important.
You said which one's the axon?
This right here. Yeah, this is the axon, the cell body, the dendrites, and I want you guys to put in the memory bank the terminal ends. Okay? Because they're just as important as the dendrites. When we talk about the types that are found in the body, we have multipolar, bipolar, unipolar. But that is the structure that we mostly see. So in the pictures and stuff that we usually see, we're usually shown something that looks like this. Well, it looks like it has the tree branches, the axon, and as you can see, they're not including the terminal ends, but I want us to remember that. In the neuron, now remember, this is a cell that does not duplicate, okay? What you're born with is what you get, all right? In the body of that cell, the nucleus is usually pretty large. Now, think about this for a second. Is this a system that ever stops? No. If it does, something's going to go wrong, majorly. all right? What's the only thing the cell can produce? The proteins. In this case, we know the product under what name for the neurons? A neurotransmitter. That product of this cell gets released at the terminal ends. So it's produced up here, has to travel the length of the axon, and then it gets released from the terminal ends. Now, in our bodies, we've got the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system, the CNS, the PNS. The central nervous system, brain, spinal cord, peripheral nervous system, everything else. Everything that exits the spinal cord. Okay, does that make sense? And we're going to find in some cases that there's going to be wrappings that exist around the axons. So right here, it's showing you the myelin. Ever heard of that? Why?
Myelin sheaths background and like this thing just like jump.
Yep, the action potential. Yep, it can jump, jump, jump. And it's a very fast transmission of that action potential. Down here, I'm seeing another type, and this is what you find in your peripheral nervous system. So that means anything that's exiting the spinal cord. Right here is showing another type of wrapping that exists, and we're looking at what happens with an oligodendrocyte. Okay? This is what you find in your central nervous system. Something else that's present in the nervous system that's extremely important to the functioning of these cells is what we term glial cells. Okay? All these little dots outside of this big nerve cell, these are glial cells, and glial cells are for support. They are support cells. The more glial cells you have, the smarter you are. Einstein did a sample of his brain and had such numerous glial cells that it was surprising to the people who did the research. So it was really kind of cool. But glial cells, termed neuroglia.
Since you said about glial cells, makes you smarter, how do you know how much glial cells you have?
I guess we could let somebody root around in there with a stick. You know, they can maybe cut off the top half of her head, root around in with a stick, and grab some of the tissue and look at it. I'm not too hip on that idea. Okay. So I'm not planning to have that done anytime soon. But just saying, you know, I'm guessing that's how they would have to do that until they can maybe find out some kind of imaging. So we find these support cells in the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves. They help to nourish, meaning their connection to that neuron, they can bring in materials that that neuron needs for functioning. They help to protect. They can keep stuff out that that neuron doesn't need. And they can offer insulation, helping protect the parts of the neuron. The glial cells are very important to the functioning of the neuron.